Bill overall doing really well. A couple small suggestions, both in the setup. I would consider moving the ball a little bit more forward in your stance so that your head is a little bit more behind it. I think partially because the ball is maybe a hair too far back. That's encouraging more of a shift to the right. I think if you can get it where the ball is starting off a little bit more forward in your stance, and you'll kind of notice when you're first starting, if anything, that ball is getting a little bit too far back in your stance, so the head is a little bit too far forward. Preference would be is to start with the ball position relative to your feet and body where you want to finish. So you watch with Aaron Obelhauser, ball's a little bit more forward, and then he separates, his head is definitely a little bit behind it. So if anything, we move that ball a little bit more forward, head more back. So now it feels like you're way behind the ball. In reality, you're really not. There's a hair behind it, which I think that is pretty neutral. And then the other item was just in your routine, trying to get where it's a little bit more consistent in terms of the bounce. So recommendation would be, as you walk into the ball and you start with your proper distance away and balance, that when you separate, you keep it the same. When we were starting, if anything, we were lifting the club off the ground. You can see the weight's going a fair amount back in the heels. And we're also getting a little bit close, and then towards the end, I'll show you here the difference. Where was it? Let's grab this one. So there now is pretty balanced. Then all you're going to do is separate and just try to keep the same relationship. So there, and then separate. And I think it's going to be a little bit easier to do if that club stays on the ground versus coming off the ground. And what will tend to happen is as the tailbone's more forward at address, it's going to be less likely to want to move towards the golf ball. This is kind of extreme. This is Gene Littler. You notice he hasn't moved forward at all. If anything, moves a little bit back. If you can compare that to this one, you can see how far back he is. The more he's back, the more he's going to want to move forward. So again, the more he starts back, the more space and room he has now to move more forward.